Hello, I'm Wendy Wilson, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Realizing Potential. Today I have with me in the studio, he really is one of my favorite people, keeps me on my toes, and a lot of people on campus, and that's a good way, because we need certainly some order that helps with the matriculation process and the advancement of our students. I could go on, but you certainly are familiar with this familiar face. He is none other than Chief John Fields. How are you?
I'm doing good, Wendy.
Good, good. With your 24 hours, 7-day-a-week job.
365.
365. I don't know how you do it. See, I'm going to have to put you in the category of teachers. Some people are just, that's that profession where you are called,
called
to do that. Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Whoo, yeah. As a matter of fact, we just interviewed Dr. Ochi, and he was talking about his passion for the criminal justice, and you are certainly in that category as well.
Yes.
So you are a product of Albany State University and
I am.
Kept that love going?
Kept it going for some years. This is going on my 13th year here.
Okay, okay.
It's amazing. Time goes by.
It really
fast.
does. It really does. It really does. So we always, you're no stranger to the show, because you always have some very vital and critical information, and we want to keep be proactive with our students, our faculty and staff in terms of just safety measures. So we just started with the commencement of our fall semester, and want to enlighten them about what safety looks like, how it is everybody's responsibility. The list is long. So let's start with the bulk of the conversation will be dedicated to our students. Let's talk about faculty and staff. I don't know that we've ever really approached them in terms of their responsibility with safety.
We haven't. I do have a good relationship with the faculty and staff, and they are just as responsible as the students and everybody. It's not just the police department, it's a campus community. Albany State is one city within a city. Okay. And when you have a city within a city, we need to take care of our city. We have our own police department, we have our own dispatchers, we have some of the best police officers in the state of Georgia. I lose a lot of them because we're producing leaders, which is a good thing. Yes. And we try to get the best police officers that can deal with the campus. Campus police officers are totally different. Faculty, one of the things we really try to do is go out and do community oriented policing and talk to the faculty and staff and have an open door policy. I have an open door policy. So a lot of times when people have issues, they call me. And of course, I give everybody my cell phone number, which helps, because if there's any issues that may cause some, they may think it may cause some more indefinite issue, they will call me directly and I can answer those questions, which is a good policy to have. And I try to educate the faculty and staff about we're here for the students, and we have to make sure that we serve the greater purpose, and that's the students. Because if it wasn't for the students, we wouldn't be here. So sometimes I have to tell people about titles. We get caught up in our titles, and we forget sometimes that these are our customers, and we got to have those customers. So if somebody called me John Fields, okay, that's fine. At the end of the day, that's my government name anyway. So we have to get away from those titles and understand that we treat everybody fairly. One thing that I have in my police department, everybody's treated the same. So if we get that way and everybody think of that concept about getting over, I'm in this position, I'm in that position, and servicing the students, we will have a better campus. And we're getting there. Not just Albany State, it's just some things that we have to think about sometimes we're thinking about the students. We got to understand that students come from different backgrounds and different cultures. You never know what somebody's going through until you talk to the students. So fortunately, we get a chance to talk. I get a chance to talk to a lot of students, and once we talk to them, you find out some things. And then there's the understanding. You have to make sure that you're part of the retention piece. It starts day one with move-in. And so that's why we try to get everybody to come out and the parents and the students to see that interaction, because that first impression is what they're going to remember. And so we make sure that all hands on deck with the police department. You got other areas like student affairs and housing, and athletic. We're probably the 4 departments that have most hands-on with students all the time. And so I'm a big advocate for the police department for the students and the police department when it comes down to safety. So we try to spread that throughout the campus to the faculty and staff when they have interaction with students. For a prime example, if a faculty member is having a problem with a student in the classroom, you don't necessarily have to call the police. If that student is not being disruptive, okay, just go on with your class. It's a classroom management piece. Sure. We don't want to go around being the muscle. We're not here to do that. And so I make sure I advocate that to the faculty and staff. The police department is here to protect everybody. We don't police students, we police the campus. Mm-hmm. And so you just got to change the mindset. So when I hear things, I try to interact and try to give my opinion and let them see the overall picture. And sometimes that's something you really don't see it until you talk about it. So it's one of those things that we're trying to get people to understand about. We're here to service the student. They have days just like we have days.
Well, I'm glad you said a couple things that stuck out, and I'm glad you said it, because I've encountered this with some colleagues too. And it is not just germane to Albany State. It's this shift that we're having to do in approaching our students. And I know we don't like this term, treating them like customers, but in many respects, they are our customers. And you make a valid point in terms of, if it were not them and they were not seeking a service from us, which is an education, they have options. They could go other places. So it's no different than you can go to Bloomingdale's or Macy's or Target or Walmart. These students have options. And then once we adopt that mindset and almost apply the business model, I know some people are probably wincing when I say that, but in terms of just evolving our thinking and how we need to approach them. The other love that you said, that you alluded to, is approaching students with education. It is not just the discipline that they are pursuing, the academic discipline, but they are deserving of a holistic education. Because again, students are coming to us with a myriad of backgrounds and experiences. We don't know, we're not privy to that information. If we were, then perhaps we could approach them a little bit differently. But again, we need to meet them where they are. And the education is just, it's beyond speech one-on-one or communications one-on-one. Yeah.
And since you brought that up, I teach 2 classes this semester.
Okay.
And I teach American Government Intro to Law Enforcement. So of course, the first day, come to the classroom, oh, that's the chief of police, and I can see the expression on their faces. Yes. It's the 3rd week now, they're talking. The interaction, and we get to talk about life in general. And 2 classes are kind of connected because law enforcement and American government is kind of connected. So we get to talk about those things, and I give them the option to talk about things that go on campus also. And I use that time also to give out some information about safety and some other things. So this is a great semester, probably the best classes I've had since I've been teaching here, and great group of students. Great. And you, like I say, you learn a lot of things. And then after class, they don't want to leave, they want to talk, which is a good thing. And a lot of them come over to my office, and that spreads out to the other students. Oh, he's practicing what he's preaching. Sure. And we sell safety when we do that, because that person go tell somebody, that parent go tell somebody. And how many times do you can make an arrest with a student and a parent call and say thank you, and you have a personal relationship with that student from now on? Yes. And it works. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's not about arresting. If you have to arrest, you still have a responsibility to make sure that kid gets out of college in a timely manner. Right. So that's what we do at the ASU Police Department.
Wow. So now we don't have enough time to talk about all the things that you said, and we want to stay on safety. But one of the things that I know that you do, and this is just, this is so important for our students, is that the way that they are treated by the ASU Police Department will not be replicated outside of these walls in terms of if they have to encounter police in whatever jurisdiction that they're in. So this is a very fortunate experience if in fact they have to come before you, because I know you have been intentional in establishing relationships with the various facets of law enforcement external to Albany State University, and help, because kids make mistakes.
They do.
Students, we all have been in those situations. And so our goal always is to help them to achieve what they came here to do and not be derailed by a poor decision.
Yes.
But again, they don't always get that treatment once they walk past these walls. And so I can't impress upon them enough how fortunate they are when they attend an Albany State University, and when they do get in trouble, that they have they are encountering, or that there's somebody that's working with them, or a group, in this particular case, Albany State University law enforcement. Now, the other side of that is, I know there's some deeds that are not excusable, and then you just have to then say, no, you don't. You have a different agenda.
Yeah.
And if safety is number one on our list, your behavior, your decision is counter to that. So let's speak to, now we've dealt with the faculty and staff and how that's everybody's responsibility, and how we need to interact and engage with the students. Let's actually talk to the students now in terms of safety, what that looks like, and making wise decisions.
And one thing about it starts with accountability.
Okay.
And they know it from the front end. When they come to orientation, I'm always harping, we need to talk to the students. Yeah, we talk to the parents, but we need to talk to the students, because I don't want it to be a culture shock to them by our policing of the campus. We do community policing. I mean, we're out and about. So if you're doing something wrong, it's highly likely you're going to get caught. When we talk about safety, we want to talk about, this prime example, the residence hall. That's your home. We have swipe cards to get in the residence hall. Do not leave the doors open, because if you leave the doors open, somebody's coming from the outside. And
The
exterior doors.
Okay, gotcha.
If you have visitation, that's your friend, but it's not that friend. You have to make sure you lock your doors. We offer free engraving. Lock your cars. We had some break-ins recently. Those break-ins, believe it or not, are connected out in the city, and we're working with the city. Because of our cameras, we were able to capture that vehicle.
Oh, great.
And that same vehicle was stolen from one of the car dealerships. So all of these things connecting a dot. So that's why it's very important that the law enforcement agency connect and talk. The other thing is, you see these people that don't supposed to be on campus, and we've been getting a lot of calls from students. Sometimes they'll call the parents, and the parents will call me also. Hey, Chief Fields, such and such is in her roommate's room, but I don't want my daughter to get in trouble. We got an anonymous tip line they can call also. Okay. And when we come, we'll deal with the situation, because it's that one incident. We don't want any major incidents on this campus. So I treat the police department like a business. So when we talk about safety, nothing supersedes safety. I'm thinking it every day. We're telling the students this every day. We're putting out tips on email. A lot of times faculty and staff don't get the tips. We send it to the students. Okay. We really communicate with the students. We got a self-defense class we're going to put on September the 25th for the housing students. Okay. We also have an active shooter workshop we're going to put on. We're going to have two. We're trying to get people in the mindset of thinking safety all the time. I don't want you to be afraid. We just want you to understand that this is a different world. Indeed. And when you get complacent, things happen. And I try to get people to understand, I don't want you to tell me that you're not safe when something happens. When I hear that, tell me why you're not safe. Right. Okay, are you not safe because you're walking, you're doing something you're not supposed to be, somewhere you're not supposed to be, or you're going to that club and that incident comes back on campus? These are the things that we have to think about. And so you got to have the people like the officer and the dispatcher trained for things like timely warning. If we got a threat on campus, they got to understand that thing. We're getting ready to send out the annual safety report. That's coming out. The emergency response plan updated. That's coming out again. And we're trying to educate people. The policies and stuff, it's on the website. Look at our stats. Now, we're not trying to cover up anything. We have minor crimes. When in comparison to other universities, we are safe. And you think about it, we got 2 campuses that are open campuses. Yes. I mean, anybody can walk on the campus because you can't say that this is not a student. We can't profile.
Right.
Occasionally, we do get calls about these people not students. We make contact. If you have an issue, contact the police department. Okay, House Bill 280. We know what guns are on campus. They've been on campus. The law said a couple of years ago that you can have guns in your cars.
Right.
And we haven't seen a lot. If you're a police officer and you see things, so you do know that people are carrying guns on campus, but legally. In the classroom. You know, there are steps you got to do to carry weapons. Yes. We do get calls. I have a lot of questions during the summer. What do my child needs to do to have a gun? I have faculty and staff asking the same question. And I ask them, so why do you want a gun in your classroom? These are your students. So there's always a pro and a con to having something. And I have to explain to them, even if you use that weapon, there's some steps that you got to go through. You got to go through that criminal process. And 99.9% of the time, you're going to go through that civil process also. Right. So you got to make people think. The same thing with students. You got to make them think. And I tell the students when something happens, what we do as a police department, if there's an argument between 2 friends, we look at the why. Why did that happen? Because if you don't address the why, it's going to happen again. Okay. And our girls, it's probably 10 to 1. 10 females to every 1 male on campus. And that's at a lot of universities. So guys going to boast. They're going to, you know, so you're going to have those incidents. I had a young lady tell me over the summer, my boyfriend's girlfriend is harassing me. Sweetheart, what did you just tell me?
I know.
So you have those.
Let's focus on that sentence that you,
So when you're talking about safety, a lot of things you look at with safety. Right. And we look at a lot of things. We do a lot of training, and we always train to be preventive. Great. But right now, we're ready to respond. Because you're going to train. You got to be ready to respond. How you respond to a situation is going to determine you on TV for 5 minutes or 5 days. And I want to be 5 minutes versus 5 days. Right. And we have a great working relationship with the media. Yes. Our students are citizens. I don't like when I see things, that was an ASU student. Might not be an ASU student. But don't try to tie that to ASU because these are students. Right. And they have reputation. We got to think about when they move on, because social media is something that's another thing. Social media can ruin your career. Yes. So when you at these parties, kickback parties, or at the clubs, and somebody filming you, just keep that in mind. You can delete it, but it's still out there in the cloud somewhere.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that. That was a great segue, because I wanted us to briefly talk about there are cameras everywhere. Oh, yeah. Right, watching your moves. Yes. If it's just as simple as you exiting your car, walking into the building, that has been captured, and that has been documented. Now that's somebody else controlling it. I'm still just in awe of the students or individuals, anybody, because there's some adults out there losing their jobs. So I don't want to just isolate the students, but not acting responsibly with their cell phones. Yeah. And so, I tell people all the time, particularly my kids, because it was this attitude of, well, oh, you can delete that. You can delete it, but you don't know in that interim who has documented. I'm the screenshot queen. Capturing documentation.
And we've had incidents that we've had to get search warrants and dump student's cell phone. And I tell them, once we dump your cell phone, we can see everything you had in there. So you got to be careful. And we talk about that stuff in orientation. So a lot of people don't know that, your cell phone can be dumped. If you've got a subpoena, and everything that you had in there can be retrieved.
Absolutely.
So those are the things we have to let the children know. I mean, the students. I don't call them children. They're young adults.
We're parents, so
But we try, and having 4 kids, grown kids, and I try to let them know that, hey, been there, done that.
Right.
So I know what college kids do. I know what my kids have done.
Right.
And so I understand as a parent. So students, a lot of kids don't have that father figure. A lot of kids don't have that parent, father and mother household. So you got to understand that.
Consider
So
all
they're
of those
looking for that.
factors.
They never had a male figure to say, hey, this is what you need to do. Or a young lady, this is how you need to act. You don't need to dress that way.
Okay.
Or you need to act accordingly. Sometimes I hear my young ladies use profanity, and I say, sweetheart, please don't say that.
Right.
And they say, okay, Chief Fields, I'm sorry. By you telling them that makes a difference. They got to know that you care.
Sure. And I think this comes from I have a HR background before I went into higher ed, and so but I take that opportunity to say that treat every moment as if you were being interviewed.
Every moment.
You don't know who your potential employer is.
Sure
it
don't.
Could be Chief Fields, it could be Wendy Wilson, it could be Connie Williams. And when I say that, people are making decisions about you just in observation. You never know when you're going to have to come across them again.
They are.
And so Connie Williams may be your instructor, or Chief John Fields, the instructor. It is not, that relationship does not always begin and end once in terms of the instructional time. So you may have to backtrack and ask John Fields, the instructor, for a letter of recommendation. He might have to serve as a reference. And so his observation was just not the engagement within the classroom, but how you acted outside of the classroom. So that same student using profanity in a public setting, or whatever the environment was at the time, you recall that. Yeah, that's your character, your name attached to that individual.
Somebody's always watching.
They're always watching you.
You know, you go into the store, somebody watching you. You may come in, that person that I tell them, certain stores you go into, you try to shoplift, they're gonna catch you, because when you come in, your appearance makes a difference. I keep a low haircut, ex-military, and that just means I'm not going to change anytime soon, and that's just where I carry myself. I'm not a type of person that's loud and go out and do a lot of stuff. That's just my character. And as a professional, people are watching you. So the way you carry yourself and the way you treat people is very important. Indeed. You got to be consistent about what you do. You can't go out and tell the students that they need to do one thing and you're out doing another thing, and even in the classroom. So you got to lead by example all the time. Right. Because when I leave, I'm not Chief Fields, I'm John Fields.
Absolutely.
I'm the same person without the title. And I think that's the discrepancy a lot of people have.
Okay.
They take the titles home with them. They can't get away from the titles. But when we're talking to our students, we got to instill in them by being professional and being the product citizen when they graduate from school. Because you're not going to be here forever.
That's right. That's right.
And so that
modeling the behavior.
Safety aspect, we want to make sure that nothing happens.
Right.
When you drive home, you're not talking on the cell phone. We know we got a new cell phone law, so you shouldn't be on the cell phone. So that's one thing that people are going to be checking. If that person had an accident where they're on the cell phone, they're going to go back and check your text message and your cell phone call. Right. And you got to look at those things. So I think for the most part, the people on campus are looking at safety. Great. And this is a new administration. This is my 4th president. I survived. Yeah. So it's getting the administration to understand the way we police, and I always have to get them to understand about safety. I'm going to advocate for my department. That's just me, and people know how I am.
As you should, yes.
And police department I run as a business, and we got to make sure that the students are safe. Because when we tell the parents, when they come here for open house and orientation, we're going to make sure we do our due diligence to make sure your child is safe. You got to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
And so when they call, how minor it may be, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, we got to go check on it. Maybe a welfare check. And so those small things, that's what getting the other students to come to this university, because we got this type of police department. Yes. And we have this type of leadership that looks out for the students. That makes a difference.
And we as parents, as a part of the decision-making process.
Yeah. They're going to do the research.
Absolutely. So it's certainly, that's, well, what is it that you want to major in, and what are the retention numbers and completion, and what's the ratio and classroom ratio, student, to all of those factors, but certainly the culture as it relates to safety is so critical, because
it is.
Yeah, we're they're always our babies, and so when they leave our home, we want to ensure that someone still has the same attitude that we have, and being concerned about their well-being. So that is again, it's key to the decision-making process.
And we set the tone in the beginning.
Yes,
we have to say it in the beginning. You can't wait until the middle of the semester. We can't afford it. Police department can't afford it. We have to set the tone.
Okay.
This is accountability. This is what we're going to do. If you get in trouble, this is what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, we're here to make sure you're educated. We want to educate you about things. Even the hands-free law with the cell phone, we're not looking to give out citation. This is education on campus. People ask the question, "Oh, you gonna give us a ticket this?" No, we're educating our students. We're not trying to, even with the hands-free House Bill 280, people make mistakes. We're educating people.
Good.
Now, beyond the education, then there's an issue. But for the most part, there's no intent.
Right.
And everything that people do, there has to be an intent. And there's always a why.
You and I were having a conversation meeting the other day, and you were sharing some of the challenges that you've had and that you would immediately address them. But I love the piece, and you just said it a moment ago, that we're here to educate. But at some point, you are opting not to learn the lesson. So we had a situation with the student, and I asked, well, how did you resolve that? Because this is very serious. And you said, well, they're no longer here. Yeah, because it was clear that you were not here to get an education.
You're not here to get an education.
Yeah, you had something else in mind.
And we have to understand, every student that comes here is not coming to get an education. They may be coming because mom said I had to come or whatever.
Right.
But we have to understand that. We have to understand that crime is a multi-billion-dollar business. And a lot of times people don't want the easy way. I mean the good way, the hard way, to earn it. They want to get it the easy way. Okay. And that's when you get in trouble. And you have to be cautious of that. Taking somebody's identification. We want to lay our cards around. Our parents got bank accounts for us, and sometimes we have our parents' cards. We're leaving them in our cars. People come by checking the car doors. Oof. You got your purse in there. I saw a video the other day, Monday, matter of fact, the new way people are stealing. You at the pumps, and while you're pumping, you on the phone, somebody comes in another car right beside your car, and they're like low crawling, open the door, taking out your valuables, and they get back in their car. You never know it. So people are looking for other ways to affect crime. And I thought that was...
So while you're pumping gas on the phone, somebody will...
Or not even on the phone, not paying attention to the people on the side. You may see a car drive up and think, oh, that person going to get some gas. But that person opened up their door, and they coming out low crawling, open up your passenger door, grab your purse, and get back in their car and drive off.
Wow.
I saw a couple of those. So that's, people are getting creative.
Right, that is extremely creative.
Yeah,
so and bold too. Yeah.
And so you can imagine when the holidays come, people don't get out of your car, leaving your car running, because somebody, and those people, they were sitting there waiting, looking for, they were targeting women. And as soon as they came up, same thing during the holidays or something, somebody get out of their car running, somebody's always watching you. Don't give the criminal the easy way. Yeah. And you're leaving your purse in the car, you're going to school. So and I always hear this, I was on there for 5 minutes.
That's all
it took. It only took a couple seconds for that person to get in your car and steal stuff.
Yeah.
And so these things you have to think about. Homecoming is coming up. We got a lot of people going to be coming to Albany. And as people are planning to have a good time for homecoming, there are people planning to make a killing off of crime for homecoming. Because you're not going to be complacent. You're not going to be paying attention.
Right. You made me think of when I went to school, college in Louisiana. I went to Southern University for my first 2 years, and of course Mardi Gras. And I've never forgotten that somebody said that the largest number of pickpocketers ascend on New Orleans is during Mardi Gras. So yes, crime.
And it's organized.
Right.
Just like these car break-ins in Albany, it's organized. It's not just random people. It's organized. And they have potential targets. And just like most crimes, they're gonna go out and they're gonna do advancement. They're gonna go around and see where there's potential people leaving stuff in the cars and then they'll come out later and do it. Last break-ins we had was 6:15 in the morning.
Ah.
So then the next morning somebody else tried again. We arrested a juvenile for that. You know, we had to change our police tactics because they're watching us also. So they know when we do shift change. So hey, we changed it around. And the next morning it worked. And the cameras work also. So, you know, just a little thing. And it was good to find out it wasn't our students.
Excellent.
It's always good to find out,
yes.
you know, it's not one of our students, but it's also good we're able to go solve crimes.
Okay. Ooh, all right.
It's a lot.
It is. And you made me also think that is why I stay. I'm a big proponent of staying in your lane. And so we'll always defer to the expert. And because again, I started off this conversation with, you know, and I was joking, but the reality is your job literally is, you know, how do you leave it at home? I mean, leave it at the office. You can't. You're constantly thinking about it.
I can't. Yeah. I'm going on 27 years in law enforcement, 4 years of military, and out of the 27, I've been a supervisor for probably 24 years. So it's been a long time.
It has. It's
been a long time.
Well, we appreciate you. Before we wrap up, let's just give our students at least 3 tips that you want them to carry as it relates to safety with them. And it doesn't have to be 3, but
take responsibility for your own safety.
Okay.
That's one. If you see something that's give you a chill or butterflies and it doesn't look right, call the police. Let us check it out.
Yeah.
And third, always have an open relationship with your police department. And I'm referring to your campus police department.
Great.
Because we're here to serve the students. We're going to hold you accountable.
Yes. But
we're here for the students. And I just want them to realize that. And I think, I was telling somebody this the other day, this is probably the best relationship we've had with students since I've been here. I say we have some good relationship, but it's a lot better.
Good.
You know, when students speak to you on a regular basis and not turning around or walking by you, hey, you doing something right.
Great. I was going to ask you, well, something again, it goes back to setting that tone. That's great. And that's what you reminded me, and I'll be 52 next week. Do you remember, I know I'm older than you, John, but do you remember Officer Friendly used to come on television? And it was a kind of a play or a caricature on the relationship that police officers are supposed to have in the community. And Officer Friendly would walk the beat and speak to everybody, and they knew his name. And so, and I say this all the time, particularly when I'm having conversations or interviews with law enforcement. And so there is bad and unfortunate whatever the industry is. But unfortunately, all police officers and law enforcement get a bad rap because of the deeds and the behaviors of others. And so we want to get back to that officer friendly. But we can certainly attribute it to you again setting that tone. And so you speaking to students, having conversations, students pick up on that, and so then they in turn respond in the same way.
And one thing that I teach my staff, and I've always been this way, and I ask them the question, do you want to be liked or respected? And they have to think about it. I say, I want to be respected.
Sure.
Because you respected, you're liked anyway.
Absolutely.
I say the ones that try to be liked, they run into all kind of issues.
That gray zone.
That gray zone. So you want to be respected. So they will respect you, and when you come around, it's that consistency that they see. They're going to respect that versus mutual. An officer being liked.
I agree. Okay. We could go on and on. Connie's going to start waving at us in a little bit. But thank you for coming on the show. Certainly wanted to enlighten our students and educate them that you were there for them. The accountability piece I absolutely love. And those are just some behaviors. If they do not have them, let's acquire them here. And they will add to their success well beyond Albany State University. Okay, all righty. Thank you, sir. Viewers, thank you for joining me for this edition of Realizing Potential. I'm Wendy Wilson, and I will see you next time.